So the first thing I'd like for you to do to get started is to give some attention to your posture first. Notice how you're sitting or lying down. Notice where your weight is. Adjust it if you need to be more comfortable. Give your hands a place to rest. I know I fidget with my hands even when I'm talking now. I do that. So when you're sitting in meditation, it can be nice to give your hands a stable place to be. So in your lap, by your side, someplace where they're just not doing the most to distract you. Notice any tension you might be holding in your shoulders, jaw, face, any areas like that. Also your hands, especially if you clench or grip things, we can forget that that can be a source of tension. So we want to kind of soften those places out a little bit before we start to settle in. And then one of the last adjustments I'll ask you to do is kind of make a decision, I guess, about if you want to have your eyes open or closed. So if it feels safer, by all means, leave the eyes open. Find a focal point that is non-moving and you can rest your vision on it for practice. Otherwise, close the eyes and turn the attention inwards as we start to move into our practice today. And today we'll be sitting with this idea of spaciousness and emptiness. Not in the traditional sense that you might think of that word, but noticing how things that occur in each moment, like our thoughts and our sensations, they kind of bubble up out of space, right? Out of just kind of this openness that we will touch into as we move about our practice. There's a sense of dissolving that happens with the practice. We say often in meditation that things are arising, things are dissolving at all the time. So that's a big fancy way of saying stuff changes. And we know that intellectually. Today, I want you to watch it up close and personally, experientially, as we would say. And so that's kind of where I'm going to be pointing our direction towards for practice today, is towards this really sense of the space in which things come from and go back to moment to moment. So our first anchor today is going to be centered around your breath. And I don't want you to overthink what that means. First, start by just observing your breath as it moves, the way it's moving right now, whatever that is. Doesn't need to be a big breath, doesn't need to be any type of breath other than you just focusing your attention on your body breathing. As soon as you close the eyes and you specifically start to bear attention on this object, in this case, your breath, your mind is bombarded with a cascade of a variety of sensations. And right now, we're just kind of working towards focusing the mind, which means if you get distracted or pulled away from noticing the breath as it moves, simply bring your attention back. And we do that very kindly, very much from a neutral place. In observing the breath, you can notice the speed in which you're breathing, the rising and falling of your abdomen or chest as you're observing the breath. And we can start to bring a bit more focus to the breath by adding a bit of a count to following the breath. So instead of just watching the breath go in and go out now, I want you to simply add a bit of a count to it. So, what would that look like? That would look like you breathing in, counting one, breathing out, counting two. So, on your inhales, you count, and on your exhales, you count. And you just work yourself all the way up to the number 10, and then start over again from one. Again, as you are moving through this counting of your breath, it's easy to notice when the mind gets distracted or you lose count. And that's an important part of the practice. One, it's how we build the muscle of mindfulness, but two, it is also the way in which we observe our ability to remain neutral, to remain in the middle, instead of wanting circumstances to be perfect or needing them to be a certain way. Here, we're just meeting the moment as it is, with a bit of patience and understanding. You can even notice that as you are counting and working your way through paying attention to the breath, that there's a bit of space within each inhale and each exhale. Within each repetition, the breath has that natural quality of arising and falling away all on its own. It's not coming from any one place, but rather arising out of this space of emptiness. Now we'll begin to open our attention a bit wider. You can release the exercise of counting the breath and start to notice the attention as it moves all throughout the body. And in this way, we are looking to sense and feel what is arising within the body, any natural sensations that you might feel from this space of open awareness. Instead of one single point to focus on, we allow our attention to be broad and notice what it's pulled towards in this moment. When we open our attention to be wide in this way and we allow it to be a bit free, recognize and notice the changes that are taking place. Just simply as you observe all of the sensations in the body alternating, the patterns of thinking shifting, and the breath moving in and out. When our awareness is open like this, it's easy to notice when we get trapped in our mind and in our thoughts because our attention narrows a bit. And it's in the noticing that we get the opportunity to take a step back and widen our field of attention and return it back to experiencing this continuous river of change. Observing, we see that there isn't necessarily a center to all of this activity, that is just moving, changing, coming and going out of that space of emptiness. Just in the same way that you don't need to do anything to breathe, you don't need to do anything to feel or think or experience. In the same way, we can also allow ourselves the opportunity to invite in a specific attitude or a specific area of focus. So instead of allowing your attention just to be here in the spaciousness of the practice and of awareness, start to notice if gratitude is present in this moment. And if there's nothing readily available, is there something you can begin to direct your attention towards to remind you of a moment of gratitude or something in this moment to be grateful for? Allow the inquiry to act as a seed that you're planting, to allow it to blossom into your experience. Notice not just the thought, but be aware of what your body feels in this moment. Gratitude becomes reflective to your breathing patterns. To continue to build on your gratitude, offer yourself a bit of loving kindness. In this way, we repeat a few phrases, wishes for ourselves and for our own well-being. And we focus our attention on those. And in an effort to continue to blossom this sense of gratitude and kindness within us. Some of those phrases are, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be at peace, and may I live with ease. These phrases act as a universal quotient, things that we all want for ourselves and for the people we care about. An offering to be happy, to be healthy, to have peace, and to live with ease. And in repeating the words, we are continually tilling the soil and allowing the opportunity for that general sense of well wishing to blossom within our gratitude, within this moment, within our experience. You can continue to focus on the loving kindness phrases or the sense of gratitude, or you can simply allow your practice to just soften, to let your attention relax, to not have it focused on any one thing or in any one place. One of the most important lessons you learn from taking time to sit and be in practice in this way is that things that appear to be solid, to be firm, to feel like they may go on forever are subject to the rules of your meditation practice, that they will dissolve and something new will arise, and the cycle will continue, so on and so forth. And when you find yourself determined that the situation will always be a certain way, allow yourself to take a step back and remember your breath, remember your practice, and remember that moments come and moments go. As we begin to close out practice today, take some time to exit the practice and see if you can notice the change from being in practice to back to your full awakened state. Maybe start by wiggling the hands a little bit. Take your time to slowly blink the eyes open. Take in and notice what you remember about the practice.